Hello, welcome to CarCast. I'm Matt, the moderator, DeAndrew, here with Bill Goldberg.
I feel like I should have a wrench in my hand. It's
Good,
one of the
good.
only times I haven't in the last, I don't know, 2 weeks.
Yeah, so the Cobra project, obviously we've been talking about that for weeks, and you were gonna
Weeks. Yeah.
for
Where's my main
well
artery? Where's my main artery? Uh,
for yeah, I guess for quite a long time.
And
But
I'm and boys and girls out there, I'm really sick and tired of hearing you. When's it going to be done? You know, if I didn't have to touch every centimeter of this vehicle, it probably would have been done a lot sooner. But uh, man, I'm learning so much along the process. I'm learning what not to do. I think more than anything. But give me a break, man. I'm doing it myself with a couple buddies, so it's not a full garage of
yeah,
people thrashing 7 days a week. I'm out here on my own, like literally every waking moment. But there's only so much that my knowledge uh, uh, can allow me to continue on the car. So I've pretty much done everything that I could do. I finished up the interior this last weekend, and I tell you what, man, hooking up the master cylinders to the pedals
yeah.
while they're in the foot box of a Cobra is one of the most challenging things I've ever done in my entire life. Matter of fact, I didn't do it. I was able to do the clutch yesterday, and then about an hour 20 into it, I couldn't take it anymore. And thankfully, a buddy of mine came over and we installed a bed liner on his truck. But man, within 10 minutes. It's just because of his size, he was able to get two hands on the pedals as opposed to my one, and I'm trying to manipulate, two things with one hand. Gets it done. So I got to lose weight before I car, man,
Or
golly.
maybe you just need a bigger car.
Well, I mean, the fact is that anything I work on after this is going to be a breeze because of that.
Yeah, everything's bigger.
Unless
You
I'm
know
doing
what?
a G or a freaking funny clown car or something, I'm not going to do anything smaller.
Everything that I've worked on getting underneath the dash of stuff. I mean, my 95 F-150, you look at it and you go, it's a truck. I mean, it's a regular cab, so you kind of sit up straight, you don't really lean back, but I could fit in it, you could fit in it. It's still, I mean, it's a smallish truck because it's a 95. Like a 95 F-150 is as big as what a Ranger is today.
Yeah,
When I park my new truck next to the old truck,
it's ridiculous.
it's wildly different, but it's but it's a fold down sort of bench seat, right? And you got some room in the shoulders if you sit up straight, and it does have a tilt steering wheel, so you can kind of get underneath it. Uh, if you're a bigger guy, but yeah, it's obviously it's an automatic, but the brake pedal and the gas pedal weren't really aligned up. The way they do that, the brake pedal, because the brakes are so soft in that truck before I redid them, that it's got a lot of brake travel to it. So the brake pedal sat so much higher than the gas pedal that you couldn't, like, if you wanted to move your foot from the gas pedal to the brake pedal, you have to lift your leg off the seat. Now, if you do that in traffic 1,000 times, you're like, God, my leg's getting tired here. What's going on? So I took that pedal assembly out. Now, what I did was to save me a little bit of time was I just found on eBay another pedal assembly. And then I brought it to my guy Sean, uh, and I said, "Hey, I think we can cut this pedal and re-weld it so the brake pedal is down a little bit more. It can't go too far because then when I hit the brake, it'll hit the floor, right? So then what do you do if you're trying to hit the brakes and it's not stopping? I go, but I think we have about 2 inches of room. So let's take about an inch and a half. Let's cut it down, and then because I bought like an eBay pedal set, then when it was welded and we painted it and whatever was ready to go, and I bought new bushings for it, I went underneath the dash, removed the old pedal, put the new pedal in, and I had no real downtime. But even in that truck, with the seat still in it, you just feel like a contortionist. You're trying to get underneath the dash. And up above, the steering wheel's in it, the steering column's in it, like what you were doing here.
Oh,
The seat was in it. I just kept thinking about it. It goes, I should just unbolt this entire bench seat and just take it out. Then I can just
and
give myself more room.
yeah,
But
yeah, but again, I like to pre-plan everything and I don't like to be inconvenienced, right? But there's only so much pre-planning you can do because things change. And then you have to understand that your anticipation grows the closer you get to to completion. So the full interior shouldn't be in right now. No
yeah,
question.
yeah, yeah, right.
Because we still have to take the dash out one or two more times and, make sure everything is fine with the steering column and the mount that I used. And every single thing is custom on this car, first and foremost. Okay. Let's just talk about that. Um, I'm having to lengthen one of the steering shafts by an inch today. That's the last thing,
Okay.
literally. One of the three links is an inch too short. So we're lengthening that. But um, yeah, I put the carpet in because I knew we're that close. But I also knew that it was going to be a pain in the ass dealing with the pedal assembly. But I went ahead and did it anyway, and now I'm paying for it. So, you can plan all you want, but your I don't know, your not your anticipation, but your willingness for it to be freaking done and for you to see something a viable change in what you've been working on, that sometimes that overrides your sense of reality.
Well, it does because you want to go into the garage and accomplish something on that car for the day. And if you have to just stand there and wait for like the pedal assembly to come in or those pieces or the bleed the brakes before you can put the carpet in, like yeah, it kind of
I
that could
got two,
be as
I
frustrating
have
too.
two pedal assemblies, right? And like you said, I can bench build one and then I could replace it. But then I have to affix the master cylinder rod to the back of the pedal. Well, how am I going to do that? Because I can't, I mean, I
Yeah.
can just part of my body in there, but somebody such as your size can, two-hand it, right? So yeah, I gotta bet. Yeah, I mean, there's so much of an issue with everything. It's just every single thing. It's a domino effect.
All right, so let's talk about where we left last week. Wednesday, you were waiting for the guys to show up so you can fire up the car. We knew it wasn't going to be ready to drive yet, but they were going to come over and you wanted everybody there to fire up the car. How'd that go?
It went well. It went
That's
well,
good.
except for um, you always try to pre-plan everything. And I knew that I was going to get to a point where we'd start the motor and it wouldn't idle because I didn't adjust the MSD box and raise the idle from
Yeah.
original, settings from the factory, right? And I knew I'd forget it, but I had it planned out that I was going to, right? Oh, there's something wrong with the motor. It's not idling. It won't go over 2,000 RPM. Okay,
Oh,
right?
that's right. You talked about that. You mentioned that before. The rev limiter
Yeah, that's all
from
it was.
the MSD rev limiter from out of the box was set at 2,000, so you couldn't rev it past 2,000. So you thought the
But I
motor
didn't.
was,
But you're thinking about 7 million different things at the
yeah,
time, right?
yeah.
And you forget. And lo and behold, yeah. So it's things like that along the way that are have situations rectify themselves by you just remembering things, right? So yeah. Where are we at now? What have I done? So I did the interior over the weekend. First and foremost, we drove to TCU to watch Gage play
Okay.
because he started special teams now. So he's starting on special teams, kickoff return. Um, so it was the first game in college that Gage started, so we drove up. And this isn't a show about football or your family, but so I will turn it into something relevant to our conversation on the way. So it was a 4 hour drive up, right? So we drove up that morning. It was a 6 o'clock game. And then I drove home afterwards, got home at 4 o'clock in the morning. On the way back, I chose to take 35, which is lit up. It's in the middle of the morning, the late night, early morning. So I didn't want to take back roads because of deer, right? So extremely long story short, I'm driving and I'm taking the TRX and I'm I'm tooling along pretty good. It's 2 o'clock in the morning. There's not many people on the road. All of a sudden, these lights come up behind me, and I move out of the way, and this truck pulls up next to me, man, and it sounded so good. And I looked at it, and I'd never seen that truck before. It was like it was like a '65 Dodge four door, and this dude had to have done a Hellcat swap, and he had to have had some bigger supercharger on there because he was tooling in this truck. And it
Yeah.
had to be one of the I've never seen that model ever in my life. Early 60s, but a four door, and it was lifted and it just looked old, on the outside, but you knew that it had some massaging done underneath. Man, that was the best experience of my TCU trip.
It
Was getting
sounds
over.
very Texas.
Yeah, 100%, man. It was awesome. What a great truck. And I didn't want to catch up to him because he was going a little fast for
He was
me.
scooting along. But if he caught up to you,
Yeah, I mean, I was
because
going. It's 75. I'd go with like 80, something like that. I'm not
yeah,
gonna, be dangerous at night or ever, right? And man, he just came up on me and he tried to race me, and Wanda was asleep, and I'm like, man, this truck is too cool. I'm just sitting there admiring it. It was great. What a great truck. So
yeah. All
I
right,
remember
that's
about
cool.
that. So I got back. I drove back so that we could get together on Sunday to work on the car. And we got together and yeah, just checklist stuff. Let's see here. Bled all the masters. Like as I said,
So
one of
the
them,
brake mass cylinder, clutch mass cylinder,
yeah,
you
the
did, yeah.
clutch completely blew out from under the car because somebody hadn't tightened one of the fittings. And I mean, I could hear it instantly when I pressurized it because I got one of the pumps. And 14 10, and I was just going and I could hear it. And so I lifted the car up and I looked underneath, and yeah, it was just one fitting. But other than that, every system pressurized itself. The
Yeah.
e-brake's fine. The Jag rear end was a little hard to get to. My buddy Clint and his smaller stature was able to come over. We were here until about 2 o'clock in the morning last night or this morning. But literally right now, all we need, the dash needs to come on and off, probably twice because the headlights are malfunctioning in that they're not doing what we're asking them to do, and then the blinkers aren't responding. Other than that, the third link on the steering shaft needed to be elongated like about an inch. And literally, when that is done, and it should be done later this afternoon, I'm going to drive the thing around the garage. Boom.
Okay. Yeah. All right.
Yeah, because I installed all the shocks, did all the spacers, did all that. I told you I inverted the shocks on the rear. I had to because of the spacing.
And
Um,
you got all that new stuff, the new springs, you got everything from Bilstein, you got everything that you needed for that.
yeah,
It worked out.
I think it's Landis that has the springs. Uh,
Hmm.
something like,
Okay.
yeah, I don't want to butcher them, but it happened through Bilstein. And they sent me an extra set, spring rates 50 pounds greater. So we'll see what works. And the the stance of the car compared to 6 inch gap in the rear
Yeah.
is absolutely gorgeous now, man. So it's
Yeah.
really,
You're gonna have to dial that in a little bit, I'm sure
oh
as
yeah, that's gonna be a pain
it
in
has
the
to
ass.
settle, you have to get your weight in it, you have to, but if it's there and it's holding itself, then
Yeah.
uh like you said, you can get in it and get it around the garage, drive it around the garage or something like that. You want to make sure the brakes work, you want to make sure that clutch works, you want to make sure, it's
That works. Yeah.
yeah, that the e-brake works, it's shifting well, double check all the fluids, transmission has fluid, rear end has fluid.
All done, man. All done. It just needs to be tested, right? And go
Yeah.
around the garage, then check all the fluids again, like you said. Um, make sure, I mean, the my biggest thing as far as ride height is where we're going to end up setting these control arms, upper and lower control arms that we customized because they're not set, right? So everything's got to be dialed in. Whether it's the camber, I mean, every single thing's got to be dialed in. But once that's done, that's the fun part too, right? You're actively participating as you're driving around, and
Yeah, you're right. Got to do the alignment and stuff on it as well, and make sure it goes straight and doesn't
everything's brand
roll.
new.
Yeah.
Every single thing's brand new. So there's nothing set at all. I mean, it's tightened, but it's not,
Your
it's,
your big driveway, is that straight?
Mhm.
It's straight, and is it paved?
Mhm.
Yeah. So you could, it's probably long enough that you can see if the car is going straight, right? Like,
Absolutely. Yeah. It's a
like
half
if you just want to check the alignment and not even leave the property, you can just go,
easily.
you could just put it in the middle of the road because most of the roads are, peaked a little bit in the middle for water runoff. So you go straight
Yeah. And I've
down
got
the middle.
the big screwy alignment tool
Yeah.
all uh, with the beams and stuff. So once I figure that out, we'll dial it in. I'm
Okay.
just excited, man. I'm excited. I can't be too excited because the roll bar is not on, so I can't get too frisky with it. But just hearing it crank up and idle
I'm
as it
sure
shot.
everybody was happy when you guys did it with the group.
Oh yeah, we were ecstatic, man. I mean, it's what you work for, right? That, and then you realize that all the medium was shot out of the side pipes and is all over my garage,
Yeah.
all
Well,
over.
I was thinking about that too when you said that the clutch when you were doing the hydraulic clutch and it leaked, and I was like, "Oh, if it was the brake master cylinder, that would make a mess in the engine compartment. But if it's the clutch, it's a little bit easier underneath the car to clean." And I know you got the big sweeper
Oh
machine.
yeah, it
Yeah.
wasn't it wasn't the clutch. So I would be remiss in telling you that I didn't depressurize the pump system, and I took the fitting off of the rear brakes, and it shot everywhere because it was still pressurized. I forgot to depressurize it before I undid it, and man, it shot everywhere. But the good part about the Cobra is it's shooting everywhere. The master cylinder is literally the only thing that's under it is the side pipes, and
Yeah.
oh, brake cleaner on all my stuff. Yeah, I was really worried, except for the fact that were Cerakoted. And Clint came over later and I told him about it and he looked at the pipes. He goes, man, they're cleaner than they were before. Cleaned them. I mean, it was great. So brake cleaner and or brake fluid and Cerakote, man, not an issue whatsoever.
So the thing about the brake fluid is it can etch it. Like I had on my red car on that Mustang Cobra. So we when I displayed it, I think we had it at, maybe it was at SEMA, and the brakes, I didn't have the new brake lines on it. It was the old brake lines, but they weren't hooked up to the rear brakes. And
Yeah,
once the car moved and got trailered over there, there was a little bit of fluid in the old
around
lines.
the lines.
And
Yeah.
it dripped onto the inside of the wheel. And the wheel is, so Brad Fanshaw made me some wheels, and then we did like he did like a brushed lip with a gold center, and I'll let me pull it
Was
up.
it powder coated? Was it Cerakoted? What was it?
Well, so what he did was it was the gold center was powder coated. The lip was brushed, and then it had a satin clear powder coat over the whole thing.
Yeah, brake cleaners, brake fluid should screw up powder coating.
Yeah, so this is I don't know if I'll show you a picture of the wheel, right? So here on the wheel, this outer lip is brushed, and
Yeah,
then this is like a dirty gold center,
gotcha.
and then the whole thing has like a satin clear powder coat over it,
Hmm.
right? it looks good. But yeah, so what happened was it dripped a little bit and it leaked down and it like etched that powder coat, that satin powder coat. So it
Yeah.
put like a little bit of a stain in it. Almost looked like a water spot that you can never remove, right?
That's
And Brad even told me it's like try brake cleaner, see if we can rub it out because you can't polish it out because it's a satin clear, you know. So yeah, it's very, very subtle. We got it cleaned up as much as you can, but it etched it. It etched it in there. So it's
I
that's
was I was surprised. I mean, because I remember shooting the video over at CGC and him ranting and raving about, yeah, it's impenetrable to chemicals, and I'm like, oh yeah, we'll see. Well, damn
you're
right.
like challenge accepted.
And inadvertently, I put his product through the challenge, man. And I mean, there was brake cleaner or brake fluid all over it. And it did nothing but make it look better. It gave it kind of a sheen. But I swear to God.
So then you cleaned it up with brake cleaner to get it all to get
Yeah, just a
yeah.
little bit. Just a
Yeah.
little. Because I don't like putting brake cleaner on anything. Because I mean, I believe that brake cleaner is one of the coolest inventions ever because it'll mitigate any mess that you have on
Yeah.
anything pretty much. I mean, I got glue. I did all the, pardon me, doing all the interior work. I got glue all over my hands. And I didn't use soap and water. I used brake cleaner to get it all off. I just literally washed my hands with brake cleaner.
I I want to say brake cleaner used to be stronger. I want to say 30
Had
years ago
everything
must
used to be stronger because they've diluted everything. Why
yeah,
would
everything's sort of water based, this and that, right? Like everything is just like all the chemicals. Like, yes, you know, our, you know, the AC refrigerant, like
every
everything was stronger back in the day. Uh, yeah, so everything's like I don't. You're right. Everything's like a little bit more gentle.
detergent, everything?
Yeah, just everything kind of is.
All about the dollar, right? Why aren't you going to stretch it as much as humanly possible before the public cries foul? It's like potato chips. The bags are getting smaller. The bags are getting smaller. Price is the same. It's like anything else, right? People try to push the envelope.
You know, if you think about it, supplements, like we used to have fat burners with ephedrine, used to get you jacked, like you'd be running around like you were on like all
Trust
this.
me, I took ephedrine before my matches. You could buy it at Quick Trip.
Yeah, but now it's all like green tea and just like some lightweight, you know, like caffeine. I don't even think you can get like you can't get like a ephedrine over the counter. I don't think anymore.
No,
That's
no, no.
no.
I mean, there's good and bad to that, 1,000%. But yeah, I mean, everything's watered down now. Whether it's brake cleaner, whether it's detergent, whether it's Orkin, whatever it is,
Yeah,
Gatorade, it doesn't matter what it is, right? People are going to stretch it. So,
yeah, um, yeah. Okay,
so
let's.
the Diesel brothers, what's the story? What happened? I mean, I don't want to turn into TMZ and be a gossip, podcast by any stretch, but I saw that note and I'm
Yeah,
just
for
curious
Diesel Brothers. Yeah,
what's
let's.
going on.
Yeah, let's. We'll get into it. Let's just take a quick break. We'll be right back. Okay, so what you were talking about, like this was in the news recently. So Diesel Brothers were involved in the big like emissions crackdown, and this was years ago. You know, SEMA made a big deal about this as well. They were not fighting the EPA or in CARB, but they were sort of working with them because it's kind of a weird relationship. You know, like SEMA does like more emissions testing and gets more stuff approved by CARB
In the
than
government.
than the government, like almost anything, because every aftermarket company goes to them like, I'm doing an intake system, I'm doing throttles, throttle bodies, I'm doing whatever, like all that stuff that needs an EO number. They work with them all the time, so they have a good relationship to make it happen fairly affordably, fast track it, get it done. But CARB was cracking down and suing anybody that any shop that's ever installed an exhaust system and doing things like that. And yes, there were definitely some bad actors in the group, right? they're doing things that you shouldn't be doing, not according to the rules. By the way, these days we can make plenty of power with emissions controlled systems. Like the company's gotten smart enough to go, we know how to tune, we know how to make high flow exhaust systems, cats, things like that. Like all that stuff we can tune around. We can make big power. Think about it. Like you know how hard it was to make like a 10-second Camaro or a Mustang in the 90s? And now, like, you can buy one off the showroom floor. Like, we're making power. We're definitely making power. Every time I follow Nelson Racing Engines, he's like, this is the most affordable package I have. It's only 1,200 horsepower.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
He's like, if you want the 2,000 horsepower version on pump, this is the 1,200 horsepower version. This is basically the cheapest one I got. I was like,
Crazy.
what? It's crazy, right? And that's on pump gas, right? So, uh, Diesel Brothers were involved in that, and at some point during this process, they were court ordered to pay a fine of $844,000, and I guess they didn't pay it, and for whatever reason, they don't have. I don't want to say they ignored it. Whatever. I can't speak to their business here,
What was
but
it?
yeah.
They were
So
ordered to pay it for what? What law did, what specifically did they, I know what specifically did they do? Was it a continuation of shows that they did and the vehicles that they were using in those shows?
yeah, so what happened was is and I'll just go through some of the notes, but the U.S. District Court in March of 2020 had ruled that their shop, their group, had been tampering with diesel truck emissions systems, and through their YouTube videos and stuff, they basically were proven that that was the case. They uploaded videos, and they were blowing all this black smoke and racked up millions of views. And the
Yeah.
clips were among several examples of how they were tampering with these emission systems. So, long story short, and actually, I think they did some testing on certain vehicles, and the emissions testing had showed that the trucks were emitting as much as 21 times more particulate matter than they're supposed to.
Well,
Right.
that's
So
not good.
yeah, so they got in trouble for that. They were required to pay a fine. Like I said, if there are some bad actors, however this went down, I don't know the guys, and I'm not. Look, if they did something wrong, they were required to pay
They
for it, and they had to pay $844,000 for it. And so what happened is they hadn't paid yet. I don't know if they just didn't pay the whole thing or what the deal was, but the guy Heavy D, Dave Sparks, he was picked up Tuesday morning in Utah and was arrested. They found him in contempt of multiple court orders following that Clean Air Act lawsuit, failure to pay the money. I think he's out on bail. I think I read somewhere else the bail was like $20,000, but don't quote
Well,
me
that
on that.
sucks, but damn.
Yeah. So listen, here's the thing. It's like if you didn't do anything wrong, then chances are you can fight that battle, like so many others have done. But if you skirted the rules, you got caught, you got in trouble, you got to pay the fine. If that's the case, then you got to pay the fine. And if you're unable to pay it, you need to go back and try to get terms or something. If you just skip out on it, then whatever. Then they're going to come and get you. They're going to scoop you up at your local Denny's or IHOP or wherever wherever he was hanging out.
Responsibility. That's, I guess, the moral of the day.
Yeah. Anyway, look, I'm sure it sucks for him, but I feel bad on some level, but I don't know enough of this story. It's like if
Yeah,
you
well, thank you for enlightening me as to some of the information because I had no idea. Now it's a little more clear to me. So,
also. So I don't know if you heard this from Stellantis, but Stellantis obviously trying to reorganize things. They just officially killed off the Challenger Daytona. I'm sorry, the Charger Daytona SRT Banshee. They struggled to make sales with the electric Charger, and then they were going to release the high horsepower version, the Banshee,
More expensive. So
and more expensive. It was already expensive. Uh, the lower level model. Um, they're just not going to do it.
we'll
It's
wake
just
up and that whole experiment will be a bad dream and it'll be gone from all of our showrooms and minds, and we can move forward.
yeah. I mean, unlike so like the Ram electric truck, there was a lot of development money on that. I think they're still going to do the Ram Charger, which is the hybrid with the range extender, which I do like that idea. But killing that off, that electric truck, that's a lot of money invested into that. And I talked to Alistair about it as well. And we were going, he brought up the question. He goes, they were so far along in doing this, why not release it, see if they can sell a few? And I said, because they need to cut their losses. If they had released that vehicle, producing vehicles, delivering vehicles, advertising campaigns, support for the dealers, like the amount of money more that they'd have to pour into getting that thing on the streets,
We
I
couldn't
just
done.
don't think would make sense. So for them to just kill it off and go, listen, we just gotta take our losses and move on from there. Now, the Charger that we were talking about, the plan was to always have the six-cylinder gas engine in that. So when they developed that platform, it was ready for it. Now, can they fit the V8 in it? I think they can, right? Are they going to move forward with that? I'm going to say yes. They're probably going to move forward with that. So they had spoken before when they, let's say when they came to their senses, they had spoken about doing like a $5 billion investment into U.S. manufacturing and said we're going to ramp that up. And now they've come back and said it's going to be a $10 billion investment over a certain amount of time. But that now is sort of leading us to believe V8 engines. They're bringing it back into the Ram truck. I really think we're going to see that come back into to some car models, some Charger, Challenger, something. I think this Charger with the EV is potentially going to have an 8-cylinder in it. I think possibly something else down the line, and bring back some of the nameplates like SRT and things like that. Maybe Hellcat, who whatever. But yeah, so that's a significant announcement for them. Going, we are investing more. And when I say the $10 billion investment into U.S. manufacturing, because keep in mind, the U.S. manufacturers, especially a company like Dodge, you rely on Canada, Mexico, like other places outside of the country, neighbors of ours, but they want to bring it all more homegrown and do it here. I think Ford's doing that, and I think several of the other companies are doing that as well. Even companies like Hyundai have committed to more manufacturing here.
A great move.
Yeah,
I go,
it's a good move. For various reasons, avoid tariff issues and um, costs around that, more jobs here. But for us here in CarCast as enthusiasts, it just is leading more and more toward the light of having, the big horsepower, the muscle car theme back over at Dodge.
yeah, 100 million%. It's hope.
It's yeah, it's hope. It's hope. Um, one other thing I wanted to touch on real quick. I don't know if you saw this yet, but all this buzz around TRX and potentially that coming back, and Ram getting V8s, and on Ford the success of the Raptor, and off road really became the thing ever since COVID. When people are like, "Oh, I could take some time off and go off the grid. I can work from remotely." Like off road blew up, right? Bronco, Jeeps, everything just kind of blew up. But now we're coming back around, going, "Well, we do like street trucks." You know, you think of the Chevy, the 454 SS back in the day, badass truck. the Gen 1 Lightning like mine, Gen 2 Lightning. Ford announced a few months ago the F-150 Lobo, which is a slightly lowered truck. It's got a little bit of a ground effects package on it. It's kind of all blacked out, looks cool.
What was the one that I wanted for a while with the Hemi in it, the two door and the
The
6 feet?
SRT 10. Yeah, that's a cool truck. So they did the four door and the two door, but the two door I think had the manual. You could get it in a manual. I don't know if the four door had a manual option. I think that was just automatic. But yeah, cool car. I mean, if you love 7 miles per gallon, but yeah, that's a badass
Oh,
truck.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it's a cool piece. You should probably have one day. When you
Yeah,
find the right one and it makes sense, it just
yeah.
kind of feels like you're gonna have one day. Um, so Dodge is coming back with. Oh, anyway, the Lobo, as I was saying, doesn't have the supercharger package, but it is the 5 liter Coyote engine, and Ford Performance has their their Whipple supercharger from the catalog, dealer installed, warranty, 700. I think it's 775 horsepower, someone around there. So Dodge wanted to respond to that. Dodge partnered up with Fox. We know from Fox Shocks, but Fox Factory Vehicles, and they put together with what they call this is talking about on the nose, the Ram 1500 lowered, which
That's
is which is interesting because you're like it's physically lowered, but lowered maybe like less expensive or less horsepower. But instead of giving it like Lobo or some some Thunder or something like that, some whatever thing.
loaded. If you're going to stick with simplicity, I mean, just
Yeah.
load
So
it.
like you go to the you go to the dealer like, what's that Ram, the lowered one? They're like, yeah, it's called the lowered, the Ram 1500 lowered. Um, anyway, that aside, take a look at it. It's got kind of a body kit on it. It's lowered. It's got an air dam on it. It's got kind of a cool aggressive little scoop, little kind of a canard thing going on here on the side. If you look at the other colors, you can kind of see it a little bit better. Um, you can go to vehicles.ridefox.com and you can check it out. Uh, it looks cool if you're into the street truck thing. I am. I'm not out in in Texas. I'm not on a ranch, but uh, it's it comes with a coilover lowering system from Ride Tech. So Fox Shocks owns Ride Tech, and Ride Tech, which makes a great coilover and airbag, but it's Ride Tech coilover system, 22-inch wheels. It's got 305 40 22s on it. It's got the supercharged Hemi V8, 650 horsepower. You can get it in 4x4 or 4x2. It still tows 11,320 pounds. The payload's 1,900 and what is it, 1,910 pounds. So yeah, it's a cool looking street truck. Now, granted, it's not inexpensive. It's about 90,000 bucks before you add. If you want the 4x4 version, it's going to cost you a few bucks more. So not not cheap. And at 650 horsepower, if you compared that to like the supercharged F-150, it's going to be a little bit it's going to be a little bit less than that. If you went to Ford and said, "Give me the F-150 with the 5 liter Coyote, install the Ford Performance supercharger on it with the warranty and the tune," you'll get a little more power out of the Ford. But um,
Well, I'm the Dodge
yeah,
guy, and I'll be honest with you, I'm not impressed with it. I mean, if
not
you're
impressed with it. Okay.
going to come out with, I mean, it's a to each his own thing. I mean, I am impressed with the idea, but if you're going to come out with something in this space, I think it needs to make more of a statement than this does, especially with the 650. I mean, I don't know. I don't know.
Honestly, I was expecting at least 700 plus
Yeah,
horsepower
I'm waiting
because
for the 1,000 horsepower variant that I keep hearing about, right? Maybe these guys are going to be the ones to unleash that one. But as I said, if you're going to come out and if you're gonna stake your claim in the space, I would have thought it would have been a little bit different than this. But that's just my opinion. Also, I'm not a guy who it's like an oxymoron for me to have a truck on 22s. That's just my opinion. I want to be able to run curbs over and not worry about my $2,500 wheels. Just that's what a
Yeah.
truck. That's kind of a. I mean, yeah, I get it. The SRT 10 truck. But it didn't have. I don't know, man. I just don't. I'm not a fan of the bigger wheels on these trucks because it takes them out of being a truck. Um, I don't know.
Yeah. I it looks good. I think they did a great job with it. You know, it's still functional. It's not like you can't tow anything or do anything with it. Like when we had the Cyclone, which is a cool little, turbo thing, but you could barely even put anything in the back of the truck, you know. Um, but stance is right, looks good, it's got good parts on it. Maybe the 22s aren't for you. You could probably, I don't know how big the brakes are. I think the brakes are fairly effective.
Give me any truck that they have with with a direct connection DSR 1200 swap, and I'd take it over that truck in 2 seconds.
Yeah. So for your money, you would build your own truck instead of
1,000%. Especially after doing what I've been doing to this freaking Cobra,
yeah,
right? Because with a little effort, you can customize just about anything. All it takes is creativity and labor,
yeah,
truthfully.
yeah.
And
But if you want a turnkey package, you can get this thing, showroom floor, full warranty, finance it.
absolutely,
If
yeah.
you want to go down that route, lease it, like, and you just want to like
It's
just
perfect for
turnkey.
somebody
But
who
you know
that's what
what?
they want. It's perfect
it,
for them.
that's kind of what like when you get into the high, the expensive aftermarket, that's what Shelby's doing. Their truck, they have their street truck and the off-road versions. Roush is getting into it now too. If you want
Hennessy,
sort of a
look what
turnkey
Hennessy does
supercharged,
with the truck, with the
you
RH.
know. Anyway, I think it's a cool option. That's what I like about it is it's just showing again the guys at Ram going, we see you enthusiasts, we see you guys in the aftermarket space, and for those of you that want a badass street truck, we are offering that.
It's
And
definitely a step in the right direction. To
you know,
know that they're catering to that niche, yeah, it's fantastic. It's just not my niche. That's all.
yeah. All right.
Okay, give me one of those SRT 10s. I'll take it over that truck all day long. All day long.
Yeah.
Maybe because
Okay.
but yeah.
So, but the two door or the four door, automatic or stick?
What kind of stupid question is
I
that?
mean, you want the manual,
But it's
but,
a really small truck. It sucks.
yeah.
You can't obviously move the seat back, much. For what it is, that's what it should be, I think.
Yeah, somebody's going to have to chime in or we're going to have to look into it. Was the SRT 10 only available? I think it was only available with the manual in
The
in
two door.
in the two door.
No, no.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure
It's a good question.
that was the case. Yeah, we'll have to look at it. 0 to 60, 4.9 seconds. The quad cab I think was a little slower at 5.3, is a little heavier. Um, The drivetrain, let's see if I got that right. The regular cab featured a T56 transmission, and then the quad cab was the 48 RE. So if you want the manual, you got to go standard cab. So it's a good question. Like if you're gonna get it and just have a little fun with it and keep it in the collection, maybe the two door with the manual. But if you
Now,
if you're gonna
that's
drive it and you want to fit in it, then the four door.
that's what the TRX is for. If I want to
Yeah,
drive it, fit in, I get in the TRX.
get
If
in
I
the
want to
TRX.
go out and have some fun and reminisce about the old days, then the two door.
I kind of agree. Like it's, like even in my truck now, my F-150, the little one, you kind of sit up straight, can't really lean the seat far can't lean it back. But I don't drive it that much and I do fit in it and it's fine. And I was even thinking about, because when we spoke to Mike Kidd from Tremec and on this project going, the automatic transmission that I had built for that thing, I think got stolen. And I was like, maybe it's
You
a
mentioned
manual
that.
swap. Maybe we should manual swap it.
Doing it with the 2500, man.
And I was looking into it to see who's done it before, and I found a shop that's done a few, and then it's a little bit more in depth because they're like to do it right. There's like a new steering column because it has the shifter on the steering column for the automatic. They're like, well, there's a steering column swap for it, and you got to fit some things. The pedal assembly goes in, and where the shifter comes up, and there's
Domino effect again.
yeah, there's definitely some issues there. Would it be easier to just put in another four-speed automatic? Yes. Uh, but anyway, food for thought. Maybe when I'm at SEMA, I'll swing by Tremec and a couple of the guys and have some conversations and see which way the wind blows.
Always a fun conversation with my kid about transmissions. That is for sure.
Yeah.
Then he jumps. Then he gets uh, Beatty in the conversation, and then they start, cooking up ideas, and it's hey,
You
it's fun.
know,
It's the
but
whole thing.
Tremec just brought out, they did the Gen 2 Ford Lightning, the supercharged 5.4 liter. I don't know what engine they put in. I think they swapped the engine. Maybe they did a Godzilla swap engine with 7.3 liter. But this is the first sort of concept truck prototype where they did the DCT from the GT500. So they're
Mhm.
going, hey, we took the automatic out, but now we put the paddle shift, dual clutch, manual. I'm wondering if that's going to turn into an offering in the aftermarket. Is that going to be because that might make more sense for my 95 Lightning than anything, right? Then I'm not
Sounds
fussing with the
appetizing.
pedals. So yeah, I'm gonna have to chase those guys down at SEMA and see how we're doing. I hope they have that truck there because I really want to get into it. Um, I think they just brought it to Ford Fest, the Holly event,
Mhm.
and got a lot of attention. I'd like to talk to them about what it took to make that happen. They may go, listen, we tried it, we did it, and it took an incredible amount of tuning. There's no real easy way to do the swap without a bunch of custom work. Or they may go, we've kind of figured it out, and we've got a sort of a self-learning tuner or something that could work with it, because that's really what it needs, right? Is some way to take to simplify that process of getting it swapped in there. But yeah, yeah, could be interesting.
They'll
A
come
few
up
weeks
with
away. I'm looking
program.
forward to it. All right, so we're gonna wrap things up for today. What else is on the docket? Anything else?
Going to Boulder, playing
Going to
Iowa
Boulder?
State. Iowa State this weekend. The boys gets to see the field as a starter.
It's
They'll be at
awesome.
the special teams. It's a cool experience, man. So I'm just thrashing out here as much as possible until I got to leave.
I hope Gage is having fun. I'm so happy for him that he's getting it done, man. He's putting in the work.
It's a different experience when you're part of it, right? So I mean, he feels worthy of the spot, and now he's part of the team. And I mean, you're part of the team, but when you're on the sidelines, you don't get out there and actively participate. It's a distancing thing. So now it's cool, if nothing else, for his mentality that hard work does pay off. So
And I know we usually talk about playing the game, but he's in school. You got that too. So and I know he takes it seriously. School he takes seriously. Football he takes seriously. So I hope he's having some fun while he's out there too.
me too. I hope he's having fun. He's very dedicated, and he's very focused, and he's centralized on a goal. And along the way, you don't really take the time to enjoy your surroundings. And so
Yeah.
hopefully he's got the time to be able to do that. I know he's living in a nice apartment in Boulder, so
Yeah. All right. Well, listen, as he should until he he's not, right? Like,
exactly.
you know what I'm saying? Like
One
you
way to put it.
you keep doing everything you're supposed to do and don't make mistakes and that way you don't lose some of the perks you have, right? So just
100.
focus. Just
Yep.
focus. So have fun, but not too much fun,
Yes.
you know? All right. Guys, thanks so much. Have a good trip. Thanks so much for listening. And until next time, keep the air and the spare in the bag and the wheel.